Suriname and begins for Anguilla as we bring you Group F of Concacaf qualifying from Raymond E. Guichard Stadium in Anguilla. I'm Donnie Barnes. In just a moment, we'll see the weather conditions today in Anguilla. It is a warm day with a chance of rain moving through. It is quite breezy and blustery, so we'll see if that impacts play at all, especially on aerial balls and goal kicks here this afternoon. But bright sunshine for now as these two prepare to take to the pitch in just a moment. We will see the standings in Group F early on. Suriname won their opener last Wednesday as they defeated St. Vincent and the Grenadines by 4-1. They had to come from behind in that game. St. Vincent opened the scoring in the 31st minute, but Suriname rallied well. And a couple, including Anguilla, have not played their first games yet, as each of these sides throughout this 30-team second round World Cup qualifying campaign will play 4 matches against the other teams in their group. These are 6 groups of 5 teams each, remember. So you play 4 matches over 2 FIFA match windows, the first 2 of those matches being played this week, of course. The second 2, the second half of this qualifying round, will be played a year from now, next June, to conclude this second round of World Cup qualifying. Suriname have risen very impressively over the past half-decade. They have qualified for the 2021 Gold Cup a few years ago. Of course, they've been recruiting many members of the Surinamese diaspora since being allowed to do so back in 2019. That's part of why they've improved so rapidly over this last half-decade, as they've been able to go out and scout and recruit and find players who have that Suriname heritage from that Dutch diaspora especially, and there's such an incredible legacy of talented players with ties to Suriname. They can now recruit those players. Anguilla have been working very hard for several years for their part to prove that they're no longer at the bottom of CONCACAF. Those efforts paid off with a dramatic victory over Turks and Caicos in the first round of qualifying in March. A 0-0 draw here in Anguilla was followed by a 1-1 finish away from home, with Anguilla winning a penalty shootout to advance to this second round of qualifying in what was their biggest win in program history so far. Now they welcome in Suriname for this match today, and while Suriname will be heavy favorites, and they have a number of traveling supporters who are here to support them today. We'll see those, I'm sure, throughout the game. It's not the easiest travel to get here. It's about 1,000 miles, approximately 20 hours of flight time from what Google Maps tells us. So we'll see if that impacts them at all and if Anguilla can spring a shock in their qualifying opener in this second round. Again, the final round of qualifying will consist of 12 teams in this CONCACAF region. Those games will be played next September, October, and November in 2025. So this second round of qualifying is in hopes of advancing to that final round next year. The two sides are taking to the pitch as we see them making their way on. Again, the top 2 finishers out of 5 teams in each of these groups move on to that final round. So you have to finish in the top 2 out of 5. It doesn't leave much margin for error. Suriname have a great chance to start with 6 points from this first qualifying window and put themselves in pole position to move on to that final round, as they'll get ready for the Nations League in September and then resume qualifying with everyone else next June. So you see these two sides making their way to the center of the pitch, and in just a moment, we will listen to the national anthems of these 2 nations, and then we'll bring you the starting 11s and kickoff. Anguilla and Suriname on the road to FIFA World Cup 2026. It's next. Always wonderful to listen to the national anthems for any two nations in World Cup qualifying, at the World Cup itself, wherever it may be in international soccer. It is a terrific moment, and I'm sure for the players involved, an extremely proud moment as these two sides shake hands. And in just a moment, we'll see the starting 11s, and we'll take a look at our officiating quartet as well. Suriname in the red kits today with the green trim. And here is the starting 11 for Anguilla, with Jelani Lawrence in goal for them. He was one of the heroes of their progression to this second round when they won that penalty shootout against Turks and Caicos in that first round. Jermaine Hughes is the captain as he anchors this side in the midfield. Here are the officials for today's match, led by center referee Hakeem Harvey, assisted by Mario Perry and Jaden Rouse. The fourth official is Sanchez Bass. You see the two captains meeting at midfield. At least one of the captains is there. Stefano Denswil is the captain for Suriname, and now Jermaine Hughes has joined him to represent Anguilla. Here is the starting 11 for Suriname, coming off that 4-1 victory on Wednesday. And head coach Stanley Menzo has made 4 changes from that lineup. Etienne Vason remains in goal. We mentioned Denswil remaining the captain at the heart of that back line. Jaden Montnor, who scored a goal last week, is in the starting 11. He is among the attacking trio. Emmanuel Farai, a creative attacking midfielder. Interested to see him in just his second appearance for Suriname. Justin Lawnwick enters the starting 11. Virgil Misigian also is amongst the starters for Suriname today. Ceremonial pre-match picture with the officials and the captains. And in just a moment, it will be time for kickoff on this breezy afternoon. Suriname, one of the founding members of Concacaf back in 1961. But again, a lot of their progress has happened just over the last 5 years on a national level, with the ability to recruit those dual nationals. And Emmanuel Farai, one of the prime examples of that, just welcomed into the squad for these qualifiers. Guy who's just 23 years old, but plays in the second division in Germany with Hamburg. And adds a real creative attacking spark to their midfield. So again, a big chance for Suriname to get off to a perfect start in qualifying today. Make it 6 points out of 6 from this first window of qualifiers, with again the second half of this qualifying campaign, or of this qualifying round, that is, to take place next June. And a chance for Suriname to develop some momentum, and for Anguilla, this is the opener of their group. They will play another match next week. And another chance for Anguilla to take a big step forward, and letting the world know that they mean to move up the ranks in CONCACAF. Referee Hakeem Harvey checks his watch, and we are in motion in Anguilla as the road to FIFA World Cup 2026 continues here in CONCACAF on a bright and sunny Saturday afternoon. Early touch for Etienne Vason. Had a couple of shaky moments perhaps against St. Vincent and the Grenadines last week, but also made some good stops as well. St. Vincent gave Suriname a really good game and took the lead, as mentioned, about a half an hour in. Had some other opportunities, but Suriname able to overwhelm them in the end in that 4-1 victory. We'd expect Suriname to have most of the possession in this game, and for Anguilla to sit back and try to defend and make life difficult for them as much as possible. Perhaps spring forward on the counterattack when they can. And they'll also look to be dangerous on set pieces, I'm sure. Aiden Scipio with some touches for, and then winning a free kick for Anguilla. Aiden Scipio always has a very distinctive look on the pitch. And a big part of that midfield for his national side. First touch for Jelani Lawrence. I mentioned he was key in their first round advancement over Turks and Caicos. Long out of the back, not able to connect with Lamar Carpenter, who appears to be playing as a lone striker up front early on. And again, that would coincide with the expected strategy for Anguilla today. Try to sit back and absorb as much pressure as they can. See what they can find on the counter when those opportunities present themselves. You see Keith Jeffrey, who is the head coach of Anguilla, in the foreground there a moment ago. Suriname probing this right side. Jaden Montnor is just 21 years old, one of the goal scorers against St. Vincent on Wednesday. Chance to advance through the middle, perhaps. Spinning out by that corner flag, rolls to the left side. It will be a throw. Throw in left for Javencio van der Kust, who plays in Holland for Sparta Rotterdam. Now by the end line, chance to cross one in. And right in front of goal, dangerous bouncing ball, partially cleared, then hit from the edge of the area, right to the goalkeeper, Jelani Lawrence, who makes the first save of the match. Early chance for Suriname. Lawrence was there, and the danger averted for Anguilla for now. Those free kicks will be precious for Anguilla as they try to get themselves out of pressure and out of danger. Another look at that chance a moment ago. The initial block was by Kieran Lake Bryan. It's not quite on the line, but in front of it. And then you see Lawrence well positioned to deal with the subsequent strike. Anguilla had to really hang in against Turks and Caicos in what was a 1-1 game until that penalty shootout. Over 120 minutes in the second leg of their first round playoff. Showed a lot of character to do so. Able to keep their nerve from the penalty spot. They won on penalties 4-3. Suriname on the attack again. Cross was blocked. Very good block as well. And this is a neat run. This is very well done. That's Kieran Lake Bryan out of the back for Anguilla. Made a lot of progress. And those kinds of runs, even if they don't amount to anything in the attacking end, would be really important for Anguilla. Get themselves up the pitch a little bit and not have to sit so incredibly deep and just soak up pressure non-stop for 90 minutes. Suriname able to work it back into the attacking third right away. Virgil Misigian. Headed away by Aiden Scipio. Volleyed first time down this right side. It's Montnor putting it off a defender. This will be the first corner of the match, and Kieran Lake Bryan is feeling that. Lake Bryan, who's been very active early in this game. Ooh, yeah, that came right off his face, didn't it? He's already blocked one header, not quite off the line, but from right in front of it. Made that long run down the left flank a moment ago, now blocking this cross with his face. So it's already been a pretty heroic 5 minutes for Kieran Lake Bryan. They'll have to be off the pitch for treatment while Suriname take this corner, so Anguilla will have to defend this with 10. Corner taken by Kenneth Paul, who plays for QPR in England, Queen's Park Rangers. See Lake Bryan walking around the pitch. Get ready to be let back on, but can't defend this. The in-swinger toward the near post. Who did it come off last? It's going to be another corner. Anguilla don't think so. They're maintaining it came off Stefano Denswil last. But Suriname awarded another set piece. It looks like Lake Bryan has been allowed back on the pitch, so Anguilla now defending this with 11. Paul to take again. Paul whipping it in, back post this time, headed into the middle, and stabbed out for another Suriname corner, this time from the far side. So from that side of the pitch, Emmanuel Farai jogs over to take it. Talked about him before kickoff, plays for Hamburg in the 2 Bundesliga. Just 23 years old, his second cap for Suriname, just called in for these qualifiers. They were really excited to have him. His in-swinger toward the back post, headed out. Well, kept from going out of play, really acrobatic and well done by Keon Duncan. Swung back in, and the header is an open goal, but the whistle goes, a foul against Suriname, and a free kick for Anguilla. Well, for a moment it looked like Jelani Lawrence had gotten himself completely stranded, but apparently he was fouled as he rushed off his line. So Anguilla's surviving for now. Not sure if the offside flag may have been raised, or if there was some other contact in the box. Anyhow, 8 minutes gone, 0-0. This is one of 2 Concacaf qualifiers in progress currently. British Virgin Islands and Guatemala kicked off a half an hour before this one. More on that momentarily. Chance for Anguilla to attack for the first time. They work themselves into the box. And this is really good persistence to battle after it, but he was called for a foul. Lamar Carpenter, that lone striker for Anguilla, able to cause a little bit of chaos for just a moment, but he had 2 red shirts around him. And again, moments like that, really important for Anguilla. Get themselves some kind of attacking moment. Take that pressure off their back line for a bit. Jermaine Hughes, their captain, player who is down behind the play. So Guatemala have a 1-0 lead over the British Virgin Islands. They're in the 38th minute there. Guatemala with a chance to start with 6 points out of 6 in their first half of this qualifying round. British Virgin Islands, the other side who advanced out of that first round playoff as they defeated the U.S. Virgin Islands over 2 legs. There will be more qualifiers to come later today. Here comes Suriname now, bursting into the box with Montnor. Montnor squares, back post, and it's the opener for Suriname. They sliced through the defense that time, and it's Tyrone Conrad who put it away. And in the 10th minute, it's Suriname 1, Anguilla 0. Fluid build-up down the right, and Montnor the square, Conrad the simple finish. And Suriname have that breakthrough inside 10 minutes. Well, after they'd absorbed pressure pretty well for the first 9, Anguilla got themselves stretched there. Didn't really get themselves set defensively, and that was too easy from their standpoint for Suriname to slice through them down that right flank. This will be simple for Etienne Vaison. You can see and hear all the Suriname fans who have made the journey here. They will look to pad their goal differential over the rest of this game. Suriname coached by Stanley Menzo, who spent over 10 years with Ajax in Holland. He had a sparkling career as a goalkeeper. They switch it out to this left side as they immediately go in search of that second goal. Kenneth Paul. Anthony Dyke-Steele. Montnor had the assist a moment ago. Farai. Spraying it across. Chested along by Lonwick. Vanderkust. Paul. Dyke-Steele. Montnor. They continue to work it around the perimeter of the 18-yard box. Scooped into the box, looking for the flick back. Shouts for handball from Suriname, not given. And Suriname continue to monopolize the ball. They swing in across from that far side. They will. And a good claim by Jelani Lawrence, who was fouled as well. Mentioned Stanley Benzo, the head coach of Suriname, as you see the foul committed by Emmanuel Farai. Just a light bump there on Jelani Lawrence as he tried to slow himself down. Stanley Benzo, 10 years with Ajax, he made 249 appearances with them. Also played for PSV. Oh, that's given away. Chance for a second goal. And big shouts for a penalty, and Hakeem Harvey waves them away. Player still down in the box for Suriname. We'll play on as Anguilla move it up the pitch. Well, they'll certainly want to see that again. They're offside here as Lamar Carpenter has the flag up against him. Well, Jelani Lawrence got himself in big-time trouble there. That one was not. A quarter of an hour gone. Suriname with the lead, thanks to the goal by Conrad in the 10th. Where will this ball be restarted from? Suriname taking the restart. Good switch to that left side. Cutting infield. More hard contact. More shouts from the Suriname supporters. Again, Hakeem Harvey letting things run. And now a whistle. And I believe the flag is raised for offside. Well, again, Aiden Scipio involved. He certainly got the ball that time. Later today in Concacaf qualifying, Cayman Islands home to Antigua and Barbuda. Then the Bahamas face Trinidad and Tobago, who will be under some pressure to achieve 3 points on the road there, as they were held to a 2-2 draw in their qualifying opener in Port of Spain, rather shockingly, by Grenada, Grenada actually took a 2-0 lead in the first half of that game on Wednesday. Trinidad did rally to salvage a point, but that was still not the result they were hoping for and expecting in their qualifying opener, so they really need to win that game away from home, which, as we know in CONCACAF, is not always simple, usually not easy. Also at 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight, Aruba home against Curaçao. That will be Aruba's opener. Curaçao looking to win their second after they defeated Bermuda 4-1 at home on Wednesday. Also at 8 o'clock Eastern, Belize at home against Nicaragua. Nicaragua got their campaign off to a winning start earlier this week. This will be Belize's first game in this second qualifying round. Ball back in motion. Lots of space for Anthony Dijksteel. Clipping it cross field. Suriname trying to find their way through these ranks of white and blue. Back into the box it goes. Anguilla had Keon Duncan in the way. Mentioned Anguilla beat Turks and Caicos on penalties in the first round of qualifying. They had a very difficult time of it in the last World Cup qualifying cycle. That was for the 2022 World Cup, of course. More on that in a moment. Into the box comes Misidian. This cut back toward the top of the 18, went between a couple of Suriname teammates as they'll recycle it on this left side with Farai. Van der Kust, Misidian. And that 2022 qualifying campaign was a very difficult one for Anguilla as they tried to build their program. Conceded 23 goals and failed to score one. As they're able to cut that out and stay within a goal for now. 19 minutes in to their qualifying opener in round 2. Suriname continue to possess the ball almost exclusively. Given away there. Anguilla unable to maintain any kind of possession for now. In 2023, Anguilla had 4 Nations League matches and were winless in those. Now cutting into the box, spun off the foot. Swung in from the cross, header away. Anguilla doing enough to defend that. Loose first touch though, gives it back to Suriname on the edge of the area. Neat turn by Farai initially. Now the cross toward the back post, overhit slightly, but Farai will track that down by the end line. That goes out for a Suriname throw. 20 minutes in, they lead by a goal to none on the 10th minute tally by Tyrone Conrad. Paul. Conrad. Looking to play the 1-2 on the edge of the area. Then the cutback came off the defender. It was a good block by Duncan. Pulled back for Van der Kust into the box. Headed away by Scipio. Van der Kust again has a strike and volleys it well high and wide. Goal kick for Anguilla. So anyway, going through their results in the 2022 qualifying campaign and in 2023, all that just to set the backdrop for how big a win it was for them to prevail against Turks and Caicos in that first round qualifying playoff back in March. It was a huge moment for Anguilla. For them to have a positive result, a victory, a progression to show. So they are also looking to recruit more people with Anguillan heritage. Here's a strike by Farai, and that one whistles just over the bar. Well hit. Example of what Emmanuel Farai brings to this Anguilla side. Given time to line this up, See how well he hit it. And recruiting players who have eligibility for your nation, for your program, such a huge part of international soccer these days, as this is headed back to Vaison. And of course, in order to recruit those players, in order for them to say yes to your program, to play for your national team, it really helps if you have positive results to show, if you can show them that you're building and progressing and that they can be part of something. So again, that's where that result for Anguilla in the first round of qualifying was so massive. For a program that has been starving for some positive results. And it's been working really hard toward it for several years. They also drew with St. Martin in March in a friendly. That was a 1-1 result. So again, more positive things so far in 2024. Very much on the back foot here, as you'd expect, as Montnor goes back post and the volley is over. Good chance for the second goal for Suriname, but unable to keep the volley down. It was Montnor already with 1 assist, looking for a second. You can hear that wind gusting in the background. And we'll have a hydration break here just past the midway point of the first half. It is a very hot day. Look at that volley again. Really would expect to do a little better, I think, when he sees that back. Had a lot of time. Probably had time maybe to take it down, in fact. Still a positive opening 23.5 minutes for Suriname and for head coach Stanley Menzo. He told the Suriname Herald after their win on Wednesday that he was pleased with the performance overall, but said that we have to be more careful. The flaws have to be removed. They did have some defensive shakiness, especially in that first half against St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The goal for St. Vincent came from a back pass that was intercepted. This is the goal back in the 10th minute. See the simple tap-in finish for Tyrone Conrad, but he made a good run to get himself in position. It was really well worked down that right side. Farai involved in the build-up. Then it was Montnor with a good ball across the face of goal to strand the goalkeeper Lawrence. And Conrad timing his run perfectly. So Stanley Menzo saying after the game Wednesday that we've only just begun. We'll have this qualifier today, then they'll be done with this first half of this second qualifying round. I mentioned the second half, the last 2 games of this group phase will take place next June. You also have the Concacaf Nations League starting in September. And that Nations League has been such a big thing for so many of these CONCACAF nations, to have regular games to look forward to every year. So huge for a national program to be playing regularly, to have games to be building toward. Helps the development so much, helps the program so much. So Suriname will very much be looking forward to those Nations League games in September. Hoping to go into them with maximum momentum by winning this game here today. This is a throw for Anguilla. Suriname having almost all of the possession, which is what we expected coming in. Of course, at halftime, in about 20 minutes from now, we'll see our halftime statistics, and we'll see where it stands at that point. Now, the unofficial stats that I'm seeing show Suriname with 78% of the possession so far. They work it here to the edge of the box, and then it's Misidian. Misidian with a right-footed effort, beaten out by Lawrence. Good save. Jelani Lawrence got his hands up and kept it away. Anguilla hanging in within a goal so far. Montnor trying to hurdle a flying challenge. That was Alexander Fleming who came flying in there. That ball went out of play. It was Kieran Lake Bryant who made a really mazy run and dribble down that left side early in the match, trying to make another. See the save from Lawrence. See it from that behind the goal angle. It was a decent save. Had to move his feet to the left, get the hands up. Did well to push it clear also. This is Keon Duncan. Mike Bryan has been a bright spot for Anguilla in this first half. Keith Jeffrey holding the ball for his side, barking instructions. Anguilla Football Association was founded in 1990, so again, it's a program that, relative to so many around the world, very recent. They will play at Puerto Rico on Tuesday in their second game of this first qualifying round. Montnor. Misidian, able to beat one with the dribble. Got himself to the end line, clips it back. Scipio is in the way. Good physical defending on that far side as well to volley it further. And had a play for a Suriname throw. Dyke steal. Now in the box, Conrad had it tackled away. Suriname continued to search for that second goal. They want to keep the tempo up. They put it right back into play. Farai went looking for the around the corner pass. Instead, it's Montnor who continues on. Then stabs it to the far side, and Misidian, who has the overlapping run and the square. Comes right back to Misidian once more. And Misidian has a strike, tipped over the bar. Good save, Jelani Lawrence, who's made a few in this first half. Misidian able to work himself into a position to shoot, did well. Strong hand from Lawrence to tip it over. Corner for Suriname. Whipped in with the left foot by Paul. Back post. Free header in front. Cleared to the edge of the box. And then the right-footed strike whistles well wide. Tough angle to take that down and hit it on the half volley. Goal kick for Anguilla. Then given away, and here comes Suriname again, and then it's put out. And I believe this will be another corner for Suriname. It will be. Anguilla, again, giving the ball away in their own third, which is not a good recipe when you're an underdog trying to hang in. Anguilla, since falling behind in the 10th minute, have been able to stay within one. Suriname continue to knock. Farai to take. Takes it short. Then takes the return ball. Farai. It was headed out and then tussled for it. You see that Anguilla continued to play with just the lone striker up front. Just for a moment there, it looked like Lamar Carpenter might have something to chase, but he has been a very isolated figure over this opening 32 minutes. See the summary, Conrad in the 10th for Suriname. Only goals so far. They certainly feel that they are capable of many more today. And this layoff, then the square ball, not quite taken under control, and then volleyed away by Scipio. Taken back by Dijksteel. Unofficially 9 shots for Suriname, 4 of them on target. Anguilla have not had a shot yet. They've had the ball in the attacking 18-yard box a couple times briefly. Farai knocks it far post. Out comes Jelani Lawrence. Did well to get something on it. Jelani Lawrence had the one shaky moment where he gave the ball straight to Conrad. He got away with that. Other than that, he's been very good, making a few key saves. Did well to come off his line there and block that cross out for a corner. Kenneth Paul will line up another left-footed in-swinger from this near corner flag. Paul flicked on and out. Decent opportunity for Conrad. Conrad acted there like he was just trying to win the flick on for somebody else at the back post, but he was pretty central when he made contact with that ball. I'm not sure if he was trying to actually head it on goal. And then the kick out from Lawrence, not a great one, intercepted by Montnor. Dijksteel. Flick to this left side. Vanderkust. Misidian. Suriname continue to play these short passes and work their way around the top of the 18. Montnor. Flicking it on for Conrad. It didn't quite reach him. And the flag went up anyhow. Well, just over 10 minutes of the 45 remaining. We'll probably have a decent amount of stoppage time. Had a couple of injury stoppages and the cooling break as well. Anguilla, all things considered, not doing too badly, trailing by just the single goal. Lawrence goal kick, again intercepted by Suriname, and back they come. Farai not able to get on the end of that ball from Montnor, but then intercepted, and here comes Conrad dispossessed on the edge of the area. Again, it's Kieran Lake Bryan, who's had a really good first half for Anguilla. They're just not able to work it up the pitch very often. This is Dijksteel. It feels like a matter of time before Suriname score a second, but as long as it stays 1-0, you never know. Lobbed into the area, and there's Lawrence again. Has commanded his box very effectively. A long throw out intended for Lamar Carpenter, and then it's given away, and Carpenter might have a one-on-one, shoots from distance. And Etienne Vason, with Carpenter not really getting a hold of it, had a fairly simple save to make. Might Carpenter maybe could have taken another touch or two and gotten himself closer to goal. You can't blame him, though, for being eager to have a shot. Hasn't had any real opportunities to do so in this first half until then. One of those moments of danger and warning for Suriname, though. That if they don't put this game away, you never know what can happen. Here's Montnor, serving it across, and it rolls past that back post. I think it was a double deflection. It came off a Suriname player last. See this chance for Carpenter. It's from the edge of the box. I think he felt he had the defender closing him down. That was Leo Abena. See the chance a moment ago. Conrad just missed, sticking out that left boot to redirect it. It's a decently entertaining game, even though it's been mostly one-way traffic in Suriname's favor. They have not put Anguilla away yet. Anguilla had a flash of danger just that moment ago. Suriname again, probing that left side. The square ball and the foot by Conrad. It did deflect off an Anguilla defender last, and this is a corner. This will be the 7th corner of the first half for Suriname. Farai will take it. Farai long toward the back post. Really good take by Lawrence. Jelani Lawrence getting better and better as this first half goes on. We knew Anguilla were going to need him to have a big game if they were going to stay close today, and he's having one so far. Now a run down this left side by Jalen Smines before he's dispossessed. Suriname really want that second goal before halftime. Misidian. Misidian again. Tried to clip it into the box and it was blocked. Paul. Montnor. Dijksteel. And Vanderkust. Suriname continuing to try to break down these walls of white shirts and blue shorts. Swung into the box. Again, an Anguilla defender was in the way. Paul cycles it back as we're past the 40-minute mark. Closing in on halftime here in Anguilla. Conrad's goal in the 10th, still the only one so far. Dijksteel. Paul. Now, thinking about taking that with the left was Denswil. Now the interchange down the left, and Vanderkust looking to cross it. Vanderkust still pulls it back, and another big save. Second ball wasn't really contacted well enough and didn't come through on goal. But it's Jelani Lawrence with another enormous stop for Anguilla to keep them within one. And still Conrad's goal in the 10th. The lone one thus far. And this is a foul against Suriname, who, despite leading the game, starting to grow a little bit frustrated as this first half wears on. Let's look at the save again. And the follow-up missed by Montnor. Well, again, it's a shot that's fairly close to the goalkeeper, but hit with a lot of pace. And Lawrence showing excellent reflexes. Had to get the hands up. Had to reach to his left a little bit as well. And then was brave there to sidestep the on-rushing attacker. Scipio does well to shield the ball. If Anguilla could get themselves to half just one goal down, that would be a big victory for them. And they draw another foul here. Kane Connor took the contact. It's going to be the first caution of the match. And that's the captain, Stefano Denswil, who I think will draw the card for putting both hands around Kane Connor. So Denswil, the first into the book in the 43rd minute today. Final 2 minutes of the 45. Farai. Top of the box, chested down, and then given away. And not hit very well by Montnor. It is on goal. It's another save for Lawrence. Jane Montnor has had a few chances in this first half that have fallen to him in the 18-yard box. I think the issue from his standpoint is that they've almost all fallen to his left foot. And he would probably prefer them on his right. Good defending on that far side. Anguilla then worked themselves calmly out of trouble. That's well done. Scipio. And then the flick along by Connor was ambitious. Dyke Steele. Montnor seeing a ton of the ball in this first half. Montnor trying to chip it around the defender, who looks to shield him off for a goal kick, and does. There's a lot of old soccer cliches that all apply here. The more you let a team hang around, the more they tend to grow in confidence. And Anguilla, they're still not going to have many chances in this game. Not going to have many moments of attack, but you do see them getting a bit more confident as this first half goes on. Suriname have so far failed to find that second goal since the 10th minute opener by Tyrone Conrad. We're into stoppage time now, of which there will be 2 minutes, says fourth official Sanchez Bass. Overlapping run, the ball overhit, and a goal kick. And Anguilla very close now to getting themselves to halftime with just that single goal deficit. I think Jelani Lawrence trying to eat up a few extra seconds by rolling that ball to the wrong spot. Now having Kieran Lake Bryan take the goal kick. Still might be another chance for Suriname in this first half. Here's Montnor looking to turn the corner. Great tackle by Lake Bryan. Continues to be very strong in this first half. Now the whistle blows, another foul against Suriname. Free kick Anguilla. Well, Suriname scored 4 against St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Wednesday. 2 of those were before halftime. Added another 2 after the break. I think they would have expected to score more than 1 in the first half today. And with the chances that they've had. Oh, that's a touch by Lawrence, a risky one. He's out of his 18. Suriname screaming for handball, I think. And the long ball headed away. Well, Lawrence, second time in this first half, he's created an adventure for himself, but there is the halftime whistle from Hakeem Harvey. And 45 minutes in Anguilla, it's just the lone goal for Suriname in the 10th minute from Tyrone Conrad, separating the two sides in this Group F Concacaf second round qualifier. It's Suriname 1, Anguilla 0 at the break. Suriname pleading their case with the officials as they leave the pitch, but it is still in the balance at halftime here in Anguilla. In just a little bit, we'll come back with highlights from the first half and first half statistics as well as we count down towards half number 2 in this FIFA World Cup 2026 Concacaf qualifier. More in just a moment. It's 1 goal for Suriname, none for Anguilla at the break. Almost ready for the second half here at Anguilla at the Raymond Iguichard Stadium. A one-goal lead for Suriname over the home side as we head toward the second 45 minutes in this Group F Concacaf second round World Cup qualifying match. The 10th minute goal from Tyrone Conrad, tapping in a square ball from Jaden Montnor at the back post. Somewhat surprisingly, was the only goal of the first half. Suriname knocked and knocked, looking for that second goal over the rest of the half, but a combination of 5 Jelani Lawrence saves and some misses from Suriname conspired to keep the scoreline relatively manageable from Anguilla's standpoint. Anguilla had a couple of half moments of danger where they showed that they could potentially pose a threat if Suriname aren't careful. See our officials coming back onto the pitch, led by center referee Hakeem Harvey. Suriname were upset at a couple junctures in that first half. They didn't have a couple penalties awarded in their favor. They did pick up the lone yellow card of the half, with captain Stefano Denswil going into the book late in those opening 45 minutes. The other qualifier in progress right now in CONCACAF is Guatemala leading British Virgin Islands 3-0. They are in the 70th minute. Guatemala appear that they're heading for a perfect 2-win out of 2 start, or 2 wins out of 2, that is, in the first half of this qualifying group. Again, the second half of qualifying in this second round stage will take place next June. It's going to be a halftime change for Suriname, as we see Shaquille Pinas checking in. He plays for Hammarby in Sweden. He replaces Anthony Dijksteel. So Pinas on, Dijksteel off for the second 45. Hakeem Harvey checking his watch and blows the whistle for our second half in this qualifier. Suriname looking to build on that 1-goal lead, looking to make it 2 wins from 2 in their qualifying campaign so far. Anguilla in their qualifying opener in this round after they defeated Turks and Caicos on penalties in the first round playoff. And they acquitted themselves pretty well in that first half, at least on the defensive side. Can they continue to hang around and make this game more interesting than Suriname would like? Suriname, a quick back heel, and then the square ball into the middle, and it bounces right into the arms of Lawrence. Almost another goal for Suriname 30 seconds in. It was Justin Lonwick who deflected it along and wasn't able to make the kind of contact he would have wanted. But the second half beginning in the same vein as the first half, with Suriname on the attack. Etienne Vason, who did not have a lot to do in the first half, had the 1 save to make. A bit of a scuffed shot from Lamar Carpenter from the edge of the area. Suriname working down this left side. Vanderkust. Misidian. That came off the defender's face. Head contact, and we'll hope that the player is okay for Anguilla. Anguilla have been very brave in this game, sometimes literally so. It was Jermaine Hughes, the captain, who kept himself square to that cross, even though he knew there was a potential to take it right in the nose the way he did. It's a warm day here at Anguilla. You see the wind continuing to blow, mostly from left to right, although across the pitch a bit, which can make it tricky. Makes the way Jelani Lawrence was able to command his area on crosses and corners in the first half even more impressive. We'll see if being at the other end of the pitch impacts the ball in a way that makes it more difficult for him at this side. In for Etienne Vason. very capable of commanding his own area as well, just didn't have to do it in the first half. So not something we've seen one way or the other in this game. Farai with the throw-in for Suriname as we're back underway. Van der Kust scooping it in with the left, and it goes over the bar. Bit disappointing from Van der Kust's perspective. Later today, in further Concacaf qualifying action, Cayman Islands home against Antigua and Barbuda. That'll be at, well, it should be kicking off right about now, in fact. That's the Cayman Islands qualifying opener. Antigua and Barbuda rescued a late draw in their first game, as this is a free kick for Anguilla. Virgil Misidian frustrated with that call. Bahamas home to Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad needing to rebound after only taking a point from their opener. A 2-2 draw against Grenada, where they had to come back from 2 goals down just to do that. Grenada almost sprung a massive shock away from home. Then later tonight, Aruba playing Curacao. Curacao looking to make it 2 wins out of 2 after they beat Barbados 4-1 on Wednesday. Also Belize home against Nicaragua. Those last 2 games starting at 8 o'clock U.S. Eastern Time. Suriname continue to work it around the edge of the box. Van der Kust. Misidian dropping a little deeper so far, stabbed into the middle of the box. Headed to the edge of the area, decent first touch, and then volleyed partially away by Anguilla. Farai. Scipio defending for Anguilla. Part of a wall of white shirts that were able to block that cross. And the offside flag is raised. And we're 5 minutes into the second half. So far, more of the same, with Anguilla still hanging within a goal. Suriname were mystified as to why the offside flag went up there. Right, intercepting that throw. Anguilla really can't afford to give it away that cheaply. Back to the right flank for Suriname. Pullback intended for Kenneth Paul wasn't the best. He was able to recover it. Now they work it to the left. Van der Kust. Pinas. His ball into the box was intercepted. And then given away. It's a one-on-one opportunity and a crucial block. Kieran Lake Bryan got his foot in the way when it looked like a certain goal. Lake Bryan was excellent in the first half for Anguilla and may have saved a goal there. That was Conrad, who scored the goal in the 10th minute. Must have thought he had another. And it's Aiden Scipio who has gone down for Anguilla. Scipio, who's always easy to spot wherever he is on the field. Certainly hope he's all right and that he's able to continue. It is a corner for Suriname, which Farai will take. Farai with the right, driven to the back post, overhit, and it skimmed off a Suriname head. It is a throw for Anguilla. Suriname had 75% of the possession in the first half. Maybe even more than that in the first 8 minutes of the second half so far. That's put out for a throw by Kyle Lake Bryan. There's Kyle and there's Kieran on the pitch today for Anguilla. 2 Lake Bryans in the white and blue for the Dolphins. Denswell thinking about lining one up. Now does shoot, it's deflected, on goal. Had to be saved by Lawrence, who juggled it and now recollects. Well, they kept inviting Denswell to shoot, and finally he did. It almost worked out for Suriname. Off that deflection goes Lake Bryan. He's tugged back. It's a foul and a warning from the official, who now will show the yellow card to Justin Lonwick. Well, he wasn't going to initially, Hakeem Harvey. And then Lonwick came back at him, and that was when the card was produced. So the card, I believe, will be for dissent officially. It was a little shove. That was definitely a foul. Lonwick didn't care for it and then talked himself into the book. So 2 players carded for Suriname. Denswell and Lonwick. So Suriname, despite having led this game since the 10th minute, do continue to leave themselves a little bit open to something negative happening as long as they don't score this second goal, which they still have plenty of time to do and will attempt to do again here. Clipped into the middle, volleyed partially out of danger, taken down and then deflected over the bar. Well, that was calm from Kane Connor, one of the central defenders for Anguilla. Maybe a little too calm under the circumstances. He got away with it. It's another kind deflection for Anguilla, who you knew were going to need some good fortune to stay in this game and have a chance to cause a huge shock today. But they still do have that chance. They have gotten the break of the ball multiple times. They've had some great saves from Jelani Lawrence. They've had a lot of the ingredients that you need to spring an upset, but they are trailing and they're still very much on the defense. Misidian toward the end line. Out comes Lawrence. He missed it and it rolls across the end line. This will be a corner. Well, Lawrence has been very good in this game. Has had a couple of adventurous moments. That was one. Fortunate that that deflection off his own defender took it wide of the goal. Fry will take this one as well, which is interesting because normally Suriname today have taken in-swingers. They had Kenneth Paul take a lot of their corners from that far flag with his left foot, but it looks like Fry is taking over on all of them now. Double change being made by Anguilla. Delani Francis and Meki Connor both come on for them. Aiden Scipio goes off. And Kyle Lake Bryan, the other player, removed. Now the corner by Farai. Out swinging toward the top of the area, and the header was won, but it's flashed wide. So they tried something different there, Suriname. After all the in-swinging corners in the first half didn't really work out. Tried the outswinger, and it was a decent effort. Anguilla just not able to build up or possess or move between the thirds. Having to just kick it long and hope that maybe they can mop up a second ball. But they're just trying to keep themselves in this game as long as they can and give themselves a chance for one of those moments of magic or a fortunate deflection. The goals can happen any number of ways. You never know. Misidian. Denswell Pinas pulled it into the middle. Back to the left, Misidian. Farai. You can see the quality he has on the ball. It's been on display throughout this game. Ooh, miscontrolled there. Just took his eye off it. Vanderkust. And it roll out for an Anguilla throw. There is so much potential for this Suriname national side. And we're just starting to see it over the last 5 years since they began to allow dual nationals. So many incredible soccer talents. As Farai, with his right, whips it high and wide right. The number of Suriname-born players who have starred for the Dutch national team over the years is incredible. Names like Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard. As you see folks watching from that deck behind that goal, a pretty good spot. This is by the end line, and good play there to win a throw deep in their own half. Edgar Davids, Clarence Seedorf, Patrick Kluivert, Virgil van Dijk more recently, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Jorginho Wijnaldum. So many legends that have come out of that Suriname diaspora. We're an hour into this qualifier in Anguilla, and it's still just the single goal lead for Suriname. They continue to enjoy 75% of the possession. They're up to 20 shots in this match to just 1 for Anguilla. 8 shots on target. Tyrone Conrad's goal in the 10th minute. Still the only one. Anguilla continue to defend in numbers, in depth. Interplay on the edge of the box, trying to get himself turned was Conrad, never quite could. Given away to Farai. Farai faked the shot onto his left. Now a left-footed strike, Pinas, he scores! Off the bench at halftime, Shaquille Pinas plays in Sweden, has that long-awaited second goal for Suriname in the 62nd minute. It was good play from Farai, kept it alive, and Pinas, after having it squared to him, struck it so well. And Jelani Lawrence has made a number of great saves. Leapt for it. I think he'll feel he could have done better. He mostly got there, but couldn't keep it out. And so that second goal that they'd been threatening for the last 50 minutes has finally arrived. And Suriname, at long last, have breathing room in this qualifier. Now Shaquille Pinas able to make an impact off the bench. That's exactly what you want as a player and as a coach. I'm sure that will please Stanley Menzel. Pinas plays in Sweden for Hammarby. So the 21st shot of the day for Suriname results in their second goal. And they will be eager to claim more. Still have about a half an hour in which to do so. That one claimed by Lawrence. Suriname have had one of their clubs represent in the Concacaf Champions Cup tournament this year. That was SV Robin Hood. They won the Caribbean Cup club competition last year, as they've begun to return to prominence after a few decades in the wilderness. SV Robin Hood, one of the most popular clubs in Suriname, had a glory period in the 70s and 80s. Here comes Lawrence, and he takes that as well. So Suriname soccer having a renaissance, and after qualifying for the Gold Cup in 2021, hoping they can make some real noise in these World Cup qualifiers this year and hopefully next. If they can finish in the top two in this second round group, they would progress to that final round, which will be played in September, October, and November of 2025. That final round will consist of 12 teams who will be divided into 3 groups of 4 teams each. The winners of each of those 3 groups would gain one of those automatic qualifying spots. This deep cross overhit and out for a corner or for a goal kick with about 25 minutes to play. So once it's down to those 12 teams next year, you'll have those 3 group winners that would gain one of those 3 remaining CONCACAF places. Remember, CONCACAF has at least 6 spots in this expanded 2026 FIFA World Cup. It's going from 32 to 48 countries in total. That was almost given away by Anguilla. See the summary: Conrad in the 10th, Pinas in the 62nd. Anguilla looking for a rare foray forward, making progress down this left side. This is Lamar Carpenter, working himself to the edge of the area. Jordan Deans. Suriname have had very little actual defending they've had to do today. Not been many spells of possession like this for Anguilla this afternoon. And then Suriname able to win it back. So with 48 teams qualifying for the World Cup in 2026, CONCACAF gets at least 6 of those spots. So those 3 final group winners next fall. And then they could gain up to 2 more, because the other 2 best finishers of the non-group winners in that final qualifying round next fall, as this runs all the way through to Lawrence, they will go into playoff ties against runners-up from other regions around the world. So CONCACAF could get as many as 8 nations into that 2026 FIFA World Cup. Of course, the United States, Mexico, and Canada all qualifying automatically since they are host nations. It is a much more wide open qualifying campaign this time around, and so many of these nations feeling they have a real opportunity to do something special. Shaquille Pinas now accelerating into the box. This is Lonwick. Got himself tied up by the end line. Looks to get turned and swinging the cross. Good defending by Keon Duncan, who's stuck right to him. Blocks it out for a corner. Actually went out for a throw. Into the final quarter of these 90 minutes. All kinds of time for Masidian. Out of the edge of the box, Masidian got it back and pulled his shot wide, claiming a deflection in a corner. Doesn't appear he'll get one. Goal kick. Masidian taking the layoff, just a little bit too close to his body when it was returned to him. Farai, down the line, cut out. Good job by Alexander Fleming to step in front of that. Flag had gone up. We're going to have a cooling break here midway through this second half. Again, with the temperatures high in Anguilla today. Suriname leading thanks to goals from Tyrone Conrad in the 10th minute and Shaquille Pinas in the 62nd. They're still enjoying 75% possession. Unofficially, they have attempted over 400 passes to just over 100 for Anguilla. So 3/4 of the possession, about 80% of the passes attempted in this game that belong to Suriname. This was the goal from Pinas in the 62nd minute. You can especially see from that angle how Jelani Lawrence was disappointed. He was able to dive and put himself in position to make that save. And again, it'd be harsh to blame Lawrence for that because he's been under siege the entire day. And he's made a number of excellent saves to keep this scoreline down for Anguilla. But still, for all the great saves he's made, he probably will feel that should have been another one of them. Anguilla have done quite well today. Suriname, still since that second goal, have not been able to add on and make this a really crooked number. Even though they're in a very good position to win this game. Looks like Suriname are going to make some substitutions coming out of this cooling break. Looks like Vanderkust will come off and Geraldo Becker will enter. Becker scored a goal against St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Wednesday. We'll see about those other changes in just a moment. There is Jaredy Hilterman. Another guy who scored on Wednesday. Suriname, such a deep team now compared to how they were even a decade ago. Hilterman replaced Justin Lonwick, who was on a yellow card. Ball back in play. Denswil moved it to this left side. Becker's first touch. Becker replaced Vanderkust. Here's Becker again. He had an interesting game against St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He was guilty of the giveaway that gave St. Vincent the opening goal, but then scored the penalty that leveled things up about 5 minutes later. Showed really good calmness to do so. This is volleyed up the pitch and stays in play. And now we'll spin out for an Anguilla throw. Play has been stopped for the moment. We'll see what that's about. Looks like the referee is talking to Tyrone Conrad. Conrad, who scored the first goal today. And a few other opportunities. Could Anguilla work themselves a chance or two, give themselves an opportunity to just maybe get back in this game? Suriname looking very comfortable at 2-0 up with 16 minutes to go. Not been under much threat at all today. These are 5-team groups at this second qualifying stage, which is an interesting format when only 2 of the 5 make the next round. Of course, a lot of times in football or soccer, it's 4-team groups, and it'll be that way in the next round, in the final qualifying round. So it's one thing when 2 out of 4 teams in a group go on to the next round. When it's 2 out of 5, that really increases the danger, and there's goal number 3 for Suriname. Served into the box, flicked on and in. It is Conrad's second. And Suriname with lots of daylight now. 3-0 in the 75th. It's another assist from Montnor. That'll be his second helper of the day as he put it into that danger spot. And this time Conrad able to rise up and beat the defenders inside that far post. Anguilla will make 2 changes after that goal. Dean Rennie is coming on along with Jared Smines. Lamar Carpenter and Kane Connor make way. So the Suriname fans who have traveled to be here today with more to cheer about. Conrad now with his double. Offside flag is up against Suriname. So the 3 points well secure for Suriname now. The only question is how many goals will they score? What will their final margin be? What will their goal differential look like at the end of this one? And of course, Conrad, as long as he's on the pitch, as Vason had to deal with that, Conrad would love to score a hat trick now that he has the 2 goals. There goes Geraldo Becker up against 2 defenders, put out by Keon Duncan. Guatemala have beaten the British Virgin Islands 3-0. Guatemala, a perfect 6-point start in their qualifying campaign. Here's Montnor. To the left side, intended for Becker. And later today, Cayman Islands and Antigua and Barbuda. That game should have kicked off already, but not showing any result from there so far. Bahamas and Trinidad, that's about to get underway as this one by the end line put out for a corner. Suriname go in search of their 4th. Virgil Masidian wanted that ball pulled back to him. I think that's what Montnor was trying to do. Montnor's looking for a hat trick of assists, by the way. He set up Conrad twice. Farai on the corner. Hits it low, and header was won, but not with any control by Jaretti Hilterman. It will still be the 24th shot of the day for Suriname. Free kick for Anguilla. Later tonight, Aruba playing Curaçao, Belize against Nicaragua. Suriname have never qualified for a World Cup. Closest they came was 1978 when they reached the final group stage. Had some absolutely iconic kits that year as well. You go back and look at pictures. Suriname's 1978-77 squad. Here's Austin Stephen into the game for Anguilla, replacing Jalen Smines. This is into the box. Anguilla, left-footed shot by Mekhi Connor. That was blocked. It would be just their second shot of the game. First one came late in the first half. Decent idea on that reverse ball, and out to smother is Vason. Has to be a tough game for Vason today mentally. He's had so little to do for such long stretches. Ball almost always at the other end of the pitch. Hard to stay in the game mentally and stay sharp from that moment where you have to rush off your line and claim like he just did. They quickly work it to the other end though. This is Becker. Plays for Real Sociedad in Spain. Pinas. Scorer of the second goal today. Misidian looking for the return ball. And Lawrence sees that spin toward his feet with about 9 minutes to go. Suriname looking for that fourth goal. Misidian down the line, really good ball for Becker. And Becker squares it. Good front post defending by Alexander Fleming. Out for another Suriname corner. This will be Suriname's 11th corner of the day. They have a player down on the goal line. That is Conrad. So Tyrone Conrad has taken advantage of the start by scoring 2 goals today. It looks like the training staff is signaling that he'll need to be subbed off, which Stanley Menzo may have done anyway, just to protect him with the game put away. This was his second goal and Suriname's third. Got himself in front of the goalkeeper, beat him to that near post. Jelani Lawrence trying to come off his line but couldn't get there in time. Becker getting ready to take the 11th corner of the day for Suriname. I don't think have officially brought somebody on for Conrad yet. Put into the box. Lawrence off his line. And it was over the bar by Leo Abena. Ball was just a tad behind him. Couldn't get the header on frame. Shot number 25 for Suriname this afternoon. Anguilla, just scoring a goal today would mean a lot to them. Shaquille Pinas, long ball down the line. Becker. Came together with Austin Stephen. Don't think a foul was whistled. This will be another corner for Suriname, who will bring two substitutes into the game. Girano Kirk will be one, Renski Adipi will be the other. Virgil Misidian comes off the pitch. So Kirk officially replaces Conrad, who left the pitch a few minutes ago, and Adipi on for Misidian. Adipi plays for SV Robin Hood in Suriname. Mentioned them earlier. As the corner is taken by Becker, all the way to the back post. Off the top of the head, kept in play acrobatically. Flicked on, and Lawrence able to pick up. Yeah, so Adipi plays for SV Robin Hood, who have just recently returned to the summit of Suriname football after a long absence. One of the historical glory clubs in Suriname, but went through a real fallow period. Got back to the Concacaf Champions Cup round of 16 after winning the Caribbean Cup last year. Girano Kirk plays for Royal Antwerp in Belgium. Here, Anguilla head coach Keith Jeffrey still shouting encouragement to his team. And no matter what happens in this qualifying round, have already taken a big step forward by winning that first round tie against Turks and Caicos just to get here. Slick play as it's volleyed across the face of goal. Comes to Becker and flicked on off the post, and it rolls across the line. It's 4-0 to Suriname. The visitors add to their lead and add to their tally. We'll see who gets credit for it. It was Becker who took it down and volleyed it on. Who did that come off last? I think that'll be an own goal. Looked as though it volleyed off Austin Stephen. This will be a better look. Yeah, it's Stephen. Came off the post and then spun, unfortunately, for Anguilla across the line. Yep, Austin Stephen own goal in the 88th minute. So Suriname, who took a while to find that second goal after they opened the scoring in the 10th minute through Conrad. But the goals have arrived in this second half. This bouncing ball, a bit awkward, and finally, Vasa unable to take. It was allowed to run out. It's an Anguilla throw in the 89th minute. Anguilla haven't had many attacking moments at this end of the pitch. We're going to have another attacking throw here So Conrad with goals in the 10th and 75th, Pinos in the 62nd, and now the own goal against Steven in the 88th. Cardenet-Rennie still on the ball by the end line. He only has one teammate to aim for in the box. Wasn't able to get himself in a position to aim for him anyway. This throw-in will be retaken. You get a look at the scenic backdrop of the Raymond E. Guichard Stadium. Lovely rolling hills behind this ground. Trees swaying in this breeze here in Anguilla today. Warm, sunny day. Anguilla making progress. Suriname also progressing, and they are going to put themselves in a great spot to potentially progress to that final round by taking all 6 points from these first 2 qualifiers, with the next 2 to come next June before the final round takes place next September, October, and November in 2025. Suriname very much hope and plan to be in that final group. Still have some work to do next June to make sure that's the case. First, they'll have Concacaf Nations League games starting in September. The new Nations League season begins. 3 additional minutes to be played at the end of the 90 today, as indicated one more time by our 4th official, Sanchez Bass. That's nipped away, and Anguilla still dreaming of scoring a goal today. On this left side, Kieran Lake Bryan, who would be my pick for man of the match for Anguilla, if you were choosing one for either team. But then commits the foul at the end of that sequence. And picks up the first card of the match for Anguilla. So a couple of minutes to play as Etienne Vaisson stands over this free kick. Following the final whistle, we'll have full-time highlights and stats before signing off today, and lots more World Cup qualifiers coming up later this evening and over the next few days. Jaden Montnor, 2 assists. I believe Geraldo Becker might get credit for an assist on that last own goal by Anguilla. Into the box one more time. There's Lawrence to take. He's had a good game, Jelani Lawrence. Hasn't been perfect, but a number of good saves today. And has claimed quite a few crosses as well. Certainly did his part to keep this scoreline down and keep Anguilla in this game for as long as possible. Late free kick for the home side with 30 seconds to go. Forward by Jordan Deans. Sent clear by Suriname, who have a chance perhaps to mount one more attack today. That one breaks down quickly. Hakeem Harvey will check his watch, and he blows for full time. And Suriname with a perfect start to their qualifying campaign. They've taken 6 points from a possible 6 this week. And they will be in a great spot here in Group F, headed into the second half of this qualifying round next June. They triumphed by 4-0 over Anguilla today. Conrad with a pair, Pinas on the score sheet in the 62nd minute. The own goal that came off Steven in the 88th, rounding out the scoreline today. Anguilla did well to keep the score down. Not a terrible result from their standpoint. And again, they've done well just to be here, taking a big step forward as a nation to have made this second round. And they have 3 more games still to come in their qualifying campaign. But it's Suriname's day today. They had to work for it, had to wait a while for that second goal to make it secure. But they take the 3 points in the end. We'll show you highlights and final stats in just a moment. Let's see those highlights from the 90 minutes today. It's a beautiful day here in Anguilla, and in the 10th minute, Suriname opened the scoring. Great setup by Jaden Montnor after he was put through by Farai, and squaring it for the tap in by Tyrone Conrad. Conrad making a great run. See, he asked for the ball, he got it, and the simple finish once he got there. And it was an early lead for Suriname. And you see the interplay between Farai and Montnor, and then the finish from Conrad. And you thought that Suriname would pour it on immediately, and they tried to. It took them over 50 minutes for that second goal to arrive, but in the 62nd minute, it finally did. It was Pinas, set up by the square ball, hit it well. Lawrence got there with the hands, but couldn't tip it around the post. And it was a relief for Suriname, who had been playing with that 1-goal lead for a long time, and you're always nervous when it just stays 1-0. But finally they had daylight. Farai did hard work to set up the play again. And then the ball hit well by Pinas, and Lawrence unable to keep it out. So it was 2-0 after 62 minutes. And then in the 75th, it was firmly put away. A second assist for Montnor, a second goal for Conrad. This one with his head as he was able to beat Lawrence at the near post. And Montnor, who was really involved in the attack for Suriname all afternoon, and Conrad able to rise up. Just that moment of hesitation from Lawrence. And Conrad scoring the 3rd of the day for Suriname. And then in the 88th minute, they would make it 4. Ball would be volleyed along by Geraldo Becker, and it came off Austin Steven, spun off the inside of the post, and rolled into the back of the net. And that made it 4-0 to Suriname. That would be the final scoreline. Geraldo Becker, who scored on Wednesday against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, should get credit for an assist there. Unfortunate for Steven, as the ball didn't take a kind deflection this time for Anguilla. So Anguilla acquitted themselves decently, but in the end fall to a 4-0 defeat against Suriname today. So we appreciate you joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. For our entire crew, I'm Donnie Barnes. It ends this afternoon. Suriname 4, Anguilla 0.